my father-in-law is a big hunter, so he doesn't usually get anything, but every 10 years or so we cook with venison. He's not a good hunter, but he's an avid hunter.
Do you then make sausage out of it, or hamburger?
Oh yeah, I mean, you could do burgers, you could do sausage, you could, you know.
And you have to add fat to it? Because deer's lean.
It depends on the cut that you're getting with any meat. You know, typically with like a burger mix for me has to have at least 20% fat.
Yeah.
Like 25 is better, but at least 20. Sausages I usually put 30 in. Typically, it works better if you use pork fat because it's a smoother fat.
Yeah, that's what they do when you process.
And the fat tends to be a little bit more on the gamey side. So with venison or lamb, or so if you work pork fat into it, you get kind of a smoother sausage.
Yeah.
And you can get a little more balanced flavors. The nice thing about grinding it yourself is you can kind of mix any meats that you want. You know, like you could go beef and venison if you want to tone down the venison. You can add pork fat if you want to tone down either. And that's the advantage. When you can buy it at the store, if it's already ground, you're kind of stuck with it for television. And unfortunately now, most stores, you know, there's this preconception of keeping the fat out of food. So if you buy ground meat at the store, it has like 7% fat, which makes a horrible burger, a horrible meatball, you know, you name it. The things about the Greek meatballs is we put in, that's what my mom used to do. She takes day-old bread and dices it up and then soaks it in milk and then adds that to it too, so it adds a little bit more fat and cream, which is important. Put in salt and pepper.
Oh, that was pepper? I didn't know if it was...
Yep, salt and pepper. And then, you know, the Greeks, they always use cinnamon. So a pinch of cinnamon, cumin, coriander. And then, you know, it's, Greek food's kind of really bright, you know, so they try to get a lot of different spices and they work a lot of spices in. And there's not a lot of, you know, like the French use a lot of butter and cream and fat. And you know, like if you talk to a Greek and Italian, they say it's because back in the day they got inferior product. They didn't get as good lamb and beef and chicken, so they had to figure out a way to make the food taste good. So they did it with these really fatty sauces. You know, in Italy and Greece, the food is really clean because the product was so good. So they use a good amount of spices, but it's olive oil, lemon, and tomatoes, and nothing to really muck up the flavor. They want to taste the protein. So it works really well.
When you're in Greece, the oregano or the spices that they put into like a Greek salad, it's different than just bar oregano, isn't it?
Well, it's I mean, everything over there is just a little bit different than like the tomatoes are different, the fennel, everything's a little different.
That's so.
It's a little stronger, you know, and it's a little like the flavor on it's a little bit more on the bright side.
Yeah.
So what I tend to do is you know, instead of using straight oregano, I'll use like oregano flat with parsley. So you get some the kind of the earthiness of the oregano, and then the brightness of the parsley.
Right.